biz. Cause here's the biz.
All right, so we had to take a little break, so we're back. Yeah, this is a lot of great knowledge coming in, so we had to, he's giving us the time now, so we got to take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a busy man, and we're so appreciative of you sharing this knowledge and sharing your time with us, man.
Yes, appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Yes,
Definitely.
thanks for having me.
Yes.
Lots of good things. So take notes, guys. I know I am. Mental notes, jot them down in your journal, notebook, so you can go back and reference them.
Yes.
But I do want to know, who's your biggest role model? I mean, there's somebody, I know you mentioned a couple of times, is it Joe Santana, or what's his name? I'm sorry if I got the name wrong.
He was.
But is there somebody like, your biggest role model, I mean, that you would look up to or reference? I mean, you've gotten gems from that person. Who would that be?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. I got a few, I mean, obviously there are people that ain't reachable for me, right? So, I think, man, there's a few, obviously, I want to say, my sister, my sister, she's a role model. I like what she's done and, her perseverance through things and, being a chief master sergeant in the Air Force, just really shows a lot of dedication and, discipline and so she's definitely a role. She's my older sister, she's my older sister, so definitely, always looked up to her and, the things that she's accomplished. But, in terms of like, when I look at people in business, I think, it's probably I like the way honestly Curtis Jackson moves. I really think how he continues to reinvent himself and the way he conducts his business and his work ethics in it. I really commend him for, what he does. So I do, follow him a lot and kind of get a feel for how he's able to survive and the things that he's doing. So he's a real good businessman, so I think too, Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins. I don't know why his name. Tony Robbins is a good. I like. I've been a part of a couple of his. His meetings, his sessions that he's done. His masterminds. I've been a part of a couple of those, and it's super awesome. Intense. He's just like a library of knowledge. When it comes to business and those things like that. So
he drops gems for sure.
Yeah. How different is, from Tony Robbins that I see on YouTube, you know what I mean, than you going to an actual, is a lot of knowledge that's different from what we find on YouTube?
It's the same knowledge, but it's way more impactful live, right? So like I can't even literally I can't get into like the YouTubes. My attention span is, it's only so long before I get disconnected.
Right.
But being there live with them, it's totally different. Like it's like 100 times better, And I was in a mastermind with him a couple years ago, and it was 3 days of being in a room for like 18 hours a day. And so it was very intense. There's people that were sleeping on the floors and like he would not let you out this building. It was 16, 18 hours a day when I'm like, when I first heard it, I'm like, this it can't be true. Yeah, we were in there 16, 18 hours a day. Wow. People were like sleeping by the third day. They were like on the floor, sleep, exhausted, tired, got to wake up, go. But, it was different. He created an environment where he had two types of people. It was investors and it was entrepreneurs, in this environment. So, and the entrepreneurs had a tag and investors had a tag. So it created this type of proximity where he brought, two of the people that are looking for each other right in the same building.
Wow.
Right. So imagine the type of deals and energies and opportunity and networking that really opened up. But one of the biggest takeaways with that and being a part of him is understanding proximity. And when he talked about proximity initially, it didn't really register, but after I started listening and getting an understanding what he was saying, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Proximity is the key, right? So, the closer you are to the things that are happening, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to be engaged, things start to rub off on you. So if you want to move forward with things, you got to be in that proximity. You got to get as close to it as possible.
Wow.
That's a lot of the teachings that he had in there was really teaching proximity, and the people, he's on stage and the people that are closer to him are, what you call like platinum members, so they were getting a lot of more opportunity with bigger people because the closer you are to them, the bigger people that are around you. So, so then we sat back, and as we moved through our business, me and some of my business partners, we started using proximity. Like, when we were trying to make deals with people on the phone, it's like, nah, we're coming to see you. We pull up, it's like, now we in the same room and the energy is a little different then, right? So doors are opening up more when you can actually sit down with people and be in that proximity, in that space.
Right.
And versus just talking on a phone or, sending emails and those things like that. So proximity is important because somebody else may come and some of their resources may come in that network, and you exchange a business number with that. You exchange an email with that. Before you know it, all these doors are opening because 4 or 5 other people, that may be able to help you or you can help them. So so proximity is very powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And being there in that energy, like you said, that same energy and them feeding off of each other, and energy is real and it's alive, and the difference between watching it on YouTube versus being there in person.
Right. Yes. Next to people, and everybody's, the first day there, I was kind of like tripping because it was like a lot of hooraying and dancing. It was like, all right, everybody get up, dance. Let's go. I'm like, wait, hold on. What's going on here, man? I'm too cool for this now. And he wanted us to be dancing and everybody was moving around. And I'm like, so I'm kind of like trying to be a little like cool. They're like, what's going on, man?
Like bro, man from the fifth floor.
Stop pop locking.
And it was like the cheerleading music too. It didn't have no bass to it, bro. It was just like, all treble, bro. All highs and treble. I'm like, hold on.
That's crazy.
Well, by the third day, man, I was boogieing in there, bro. I was boogieing in there. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I'll set in now.
There must be something to that, because I just attended a class, an acting class put on by Richard Lawson School, and he did the same thing. He opened up the class with dancing.
Yes, right.
Had the whole stage like with the lights.
Yes,
and
right.
Like, we're just gonna take these next couple minutes to open up the class, and we're just gonna dance. And I'm like, that's the first time. Like that's the first time I've ever experienced anything like that.
Absolutely.
And even the people that were on Zoom were like, all right, y'all better be dancing. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like, why did they do that? The energy.
Yeah, there's a method to the madness.
There's a method. So well, that's awesome. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and Tony Robbins. I mean, those are some big role models.
My sister.
Your sister. Amazing. What is her name?
Yeah. Her name's Hanitra.
Okay.
Barfield. So.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. No, not one. She doesn't want to retire anytime soon. I mean, she's put in her 20.
Yeah, she's actually about to. I think she's a couple years away. Yeah, this is her last. Okay. At least that's what she says. I'm not gonna call, but she's saying this is she's gonna hang it up after this. So.
Yeah, she went in right after high school, then, huh?
Yes, she did.
Wow,
yeah. So she's been in there for a minute. She's been doing her thing.
That's amazing.
Salute to her.
Salute to her. Absolutely. So if you could, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what 3 books, man. I'm really interested to know this. 3 books. That's it. Just 3.
3 good ones, huh?
3 good ones.
It's going to change somebody's life.
Man, let's see. I would probably have, I'm going to start with some of the older ones, but I would say The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. That's an encyclopedia of knowledge there. And I read that book at a very young age, you know.
Wow. At what age?
I was probably 27, 28, something like that. You know.
Wow.
You know.
Who gave you? Well, where did you get that book at?
Yeah.
Somebody gave it to you, or you picked it up?
I think I'm trying. That's a good question. I want to say somebody. I can't remember how I came across it, but I think what happened was I first learned about the book Think and Grow Rich, and so Napoleon Hill. So then I started doing a lot of research on him and the other books that he read, and then Law of Success came up, which was like a big plethora of what Think and Grow Rich was. So right. I got into that. So, but yeah, Napoleon Hill, he's one of my favorites there. Mm-hmm. So I would say Law of Success is definitely a good book to read. It's an older book, but it's good. It's a good book to read.
Right.
Let me see. There's a book out there called Relentless by Tim Grover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a badass book right there. Yes.
I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, you got to check that one out. So Tim Grover, you know, he trained. He's well, in terms of rehabilitation, some of the biggest NBA stars in the world. You know, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade.
Jordan too, right?
I want to say Jordan too as well. Yeah.
I want to say he did Tiger Woods or something like that.
He might have did. Some of those big guys. And,
yeah.
And the book that's called Relentless is an amazing book that he put together, where he basically is sharing his life experiences with these cleaners. You know, they called them cleaners. There was 3 types of people that he had there, and the top of the line were the cleaners, and these were the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans and the Dwayne Wades, how they just moved differently. They were considered corporate athletes. And some of the stories that he tell about these guys, it's like, wow, man, these guys were just ferocious. Like they were like, you know, people see them on TV making the last basket or making the last jump shot, or, you know, playing these certain games, but they hardly get to see how they are off court. And the things that they were doing, it was just like amazing. Like they were, you know, separated from everybody else. But in that book, he talked about everybody having a dark side, you know, and you know, when he talked about the dark side, it wasn't really about like dark meaning bad. You know, a lot of times people associate darkness with something bad, and it's like, no, you know, it's not bad. It's just the person that is who is inside you and who you are, and everybody has that person. You know, you're a certain person in the public sector, and you're a certain person in the private sector, no matter who you are. You know, so but the dark side person is the person that is who you are and who's pushing you to do things, and he really explained that. And if you really go back and you look at what we grew up on, it was put in our face, and we just never seen it. You know. You know, Clark Kent was a nerd that worked in an office, you know, and stumbled, and everything. He walked around, he dropped coffee on the floor, and but when it was time to make action, he went into the booth and he turned into Superman. You follow what I'm saying? So Incredible Hulk was a cool guy that didn't want no problems.
Right.
Excuse me. But when you pissed him off, he turned into Incredible Hulk, right?
Right.
You know, Batman was a cool guy, but he lived in a cage, right? So the list goes on and on and on. You know, they've shown us these different sides of people throughout our lives, and we just never really caught on what they were really trying to tell us. And that's how we actually are as human beings. But really tapping into that dark side of yourself and understanding that can really put you in a position of success, and you gotta discipline it. You know, you gotta know how to use it and discipline it and make sure it doesn't get too much out of line. You know, and that's why you need to learn who it is. But once you learn who it is, then you know how to use it to where, you know, there's no self-destruction here. But you tap into that person, and that's the sleeping giant in you, man. You know what I mean? That's that person that's in you. We all hear him in the back of our head. You know, we hear him. You know,
I seen him on an interview, and he talked. I don't know if it was about that or something like that, but he said, "What's one thing all of them have in common?" Yeah. And he mentioned something like that, is that he thinks, and it might have been that what he was talking about, but he said he feels like they didn't shut out the bad, right?
Yes.
They learned how to use it to fuel them when they're
Absolutely.
in action.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then, you know what I mean? And then I was
Yes.
like, yo, that makes so much sense, because a lot of things that I did,
Yes.
I would tune back to
Yes.
things that made me mad,
Right,
you know what I mean,
right.
and stuff like that. And then that's what kept you going. And it's,
Yes.
but he was like, so he was saying that he thinks it's healthy, but you have to learn how to turn it off.
That's what I'm
and people
saying.
fall victim
Yes.
when they don't know how to turn it off or
Yes.
whatever. But he's like Jordan and Kobe, they were masters at using it when it
Yes.
was game time.
Right.
And,
There you
and I
go.
was just like, wow,
Yes.
like
That's big.
Yep.
that's
that was
crazy.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I never heard it like that before.
Yes.
And I really need to read that book.
Yeah,
right there.
it's an amazing book. I definitely encourage and you know, I put it out there in terms of a book a must read.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Relentless, and then oh man, there's a couple of them out there. I think the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is an amazing book too. So
Yeah.
that's the foundation of a lot of what goes on today, and that's another good book to read. You know, so he helped. You know, he made 48 Laws of Power, and then he helps 50. Curtis Jackson write the 50th law.
Yeah.
You know, so I got
I borrowed that from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I got
Yeah.
both those books and went through those, and there's some real good books to read too as well. So
Nice.
a lot with leadership in there, you know, and really understanding you know, in these positions, and
Yeah.
you know, the pitfalls and things to watch out for, and really approaching these things in a very military mind, you know, and you know, because that's if you go back and look at a lot of these great books, they were military people that, you know, that were building these empires or building these principalities. They were either kings and princes and kings, you know, like the book The Prince. That's what that's about, you know. That's where Niccolo Machiavelli came from, the book called The Prince. And, you know, that was about, it was basically what he did is he went and studied for 25 years all these princes and their lifespans of their lives, right? So he took 25 years and he went to all these different principalities and just interviewed these people and understood how they operate. Because some of these princes, they were becoming kings at a very young age. Because, you know, there was war, you know, so, you know, the king would get snuffed off, and the little prince, he's only 13, 14 years old. He's now the king of the king of the castle,
Right,
bro.
right,
So,
right.
So he studied them, and what he was trying to do was understand. He consolidated all the information that he had to what was the most effective in terms of longevity in those positions of each one of those kings, what worked, and he started grouping them into, you know, fear, force, love. You know, was the lovable king the one that went the furthest? You know, was it the fearful king that went the furthest? You know, so he kept consolidating until he got to fear and love. You either rule by fear or you rule by love. And one of the things he found out through really breaking that down is the lovable king was great. Everybody loved him, you know, but he only got so far because people didn't fear him. So they knew if they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or, you know, did something different, that there was no consequences to that.
Right.
So it was like, hey, you know, sit here and work here today, you know, and I need 100 of these done. You know, when I come back, 100 needs to be done. But I'm the lovable person. Oh, well, you only did 80 today. Nothing's going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Where the ones that rule by fear came around, it was like, oh, you know, they going because do 100, I'm gonna cut your hands off, right?
Ooh,
you know, so they were like, man, let me go. So he really narrowed it down. You know, you can go and see a lot of his quotes where he talked about it, but he really narrowed it down to fear and love.
Did he do a book?
Yeah, it's called The Prince.
The Prince?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called The Prince. Yeah,
Prince.
Niccolo Machiavelli. Yeah, it's called The Prince. So it came down to and so
texting it to you.
those are used now in management styles today. You know, as a manager or supervisor, if you try to go out here and be the person that everybody loves, they're gonna step over you. You know, if you try to go out here and be just an asshole and be very fearful to everybody, you'll get the job done. But as soon as you walk out the room, they're gonna stab you in the back. They're gonna put cyanide in your food. They're gonna adulterate your products. You know, they're gonna do things because they hate the way you're treating them.
Right.
So as being a manager or a CEO of a company, you got to understand these different dynamics. You know, what really works for the environment that you in.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is you got to be a jack of both trades, right? You got to have a little fear, but you got to really have a little love too. You got to have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You know, and know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Do you think the fear is kind of like goes hand in hand with more respect, like, or is it fear like how you were just explaining it, like, you know, he's an asshole when he,
Yes,
when,
right,
you know,
right.
he's an asshole of a manager, and everybody fears him. But is it more of just like, yeah, we fear him, but also we just because we respect his authority and you know, his title or you know, what have you?
Yeah, and that's basically, you know, what comes out of it, right?
Yeah.
Is you know, the book was written in terms of fear. Like, we fear this guy. Like, if he comes around, we got to do what we're going to do, or he's going to chop our heads off, right?
Yeah,
so, but that's where you find that middle respect, right? So, you know, you don't want to be fearful, you don't want to be lovable, but you want to be respectful, right? You want to respect people. And, you know, that goes back to those principles we talked about.
Yeah.
Treat people with respect, you know. And they need to give it in return, you know. And if people choose not to give that respect in return, then then we know how to handle that. You know, that's the end of that conversation. That's the end of where we're going. You know, but if I'm giving it, you got to expect it in return. You know, I've had many situations where I've had teams of people and had to have big meetings with people, and the first thing I get out there is say, I put the pressure on us, my whole team. I'll get out here and say, we're all getting out here together, and we'll get out in front of the people and we'll say, hey, we're going to be very professional. We're going to be very respectful. We're going to be very trustworthy. We're going to treat you like you're supposed to be treated, you know. And if anybody on my team doesn't do that, I want to know about it, you know, because we don't tolerate that. Everybody deserves to be treated this way. But then I would say in the same breath, we expect all that in return.
Right.
And we're not going to tolerate you disrespecting any of our teammates. We're not going to tolerate you being unprofessional with any of our teammates. So, you know, it goes both ways. You know? So it kind of sets the playing field, you know, kind of sets the field, you know, you know, the right atmosphere for everybody to say, hey, we're going to give it, but all we asking is, we ain't asked for anything more than what we expect in return. Right. What we gave you, we want back in return. So.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So Relentless, a good book. Law of Success. And then I said
48 Hours of Power.
Yeah. 48 laws.
Laws.
Yeah.
48 laws. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then The Prince is a good book too. The Prince is a good book too. Yeah. Anybody that joins a management team. Always recommend read the book The Prince. You know, because a lot of times people come in with chips on their shoulders and egos and think just because you the boss that everything's gonna go your way and people are gonna do what you want to do. So my teachings is, yeah, you the boss, you the police, you got the billy club, you got the taser, you know, you got the handcuffs, you got the gun on the side, you got all these tools to get the job done. But what I want you to do is get those people or that person to do what you want them to do without using any of these tools.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can do that, then that's way more effective than trying to use tools to get people to do things, you know. So, you know, you have these people come in, you know, and they don't understand that just because you ass on your chest don't mean people are going to do. You got to really understand how to deal with people and listen. You know, it's the difference between hearing and listening. You got to listen to what people are saying. So
that's good. Real good. Yeah.
So if you can tell the younger version of Clif or just anyone coming up in life, whether they want to do business or just need, you know, help staying on that right track and path of life? Or what would you tell the younger version of Clif?
Wow. Oh man. I would definitely say, you gotta prepare yourself physically for, this type of work. It's a lot of times, they say, with prayer without action is dead. So we gotta be practical at what we do here on earth too as well. So I would say, physically you got to prepare yourself. You got to try to stay healthy, commit to your nutrition, and as much as you can. You don't got to be an enthusiast or nothing like that, but you have to deposit something into your body to prepare mentally. So be healthy. I would say, as we talked earlier, be prepared to do more, receive less initially. If you're not willing to sacrifice more, at the beginning, then you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
So, you got to be prepared to do more and receive less and just weather through the storm, because, it's on a cycle. Your ups and downs are going to come regardless of whatever business you in, what you're doing. It's a cycle. Your ups and downs are going to come. So when things are going bad, prepare for the good to come your way. And then, but when things are going good, you got to prepare for the bad. So sometimes when people get to a space where they're doing good, they get complacent.
Right.
Yeah.
I arrived, I'm there. Everything's moving good. Everything's clicking, we good, and that's the time to be on your toes.
Right.
That's the time where you're most vulnerable, when everything is just smooth and going. Because with every business, there's a problem coming. I don't care what business you're in, there's a problem coming. So what your job is to try to find the problem at the micro level. Because problems start micro, and if you're not good at finding the problems at the very small level, then they become macro, and they're harder to deal with.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, hit the little bubbles when everything's going good. Now go find the small things. See, that's the difference between people. Everything going good, they like this, they chilling
back,
and it's going like this. It's breathing and it's getting big. So when it hit them, it's like, wow, oh man, what the hell just happened? We didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
So go look. And when you find it, when you get it at the microscopic level, it's easier to deal with. And we see that in everything. You know what I mean? We see that in our health. We see that in our business. You know what I mean? We see that in everything. So don't get complacent. Stay active, stay ready. When everything is going good, that's when you start looking.
So the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, doesn't apply.
That does not
to
apply.
business.
No,
that's the wrong advice, right?
That's the wrong advice to get. That doesn't
Yes.
apply to business. I mean, you, like you said, you got to find things at the micro.
Yes.
And identify.
Go look. Yes.
Go look.
Yes.
Don't become complacent.
Yes, the problem's easier to fix when it's small.
That's true.
You let it get lost because it's coming. Like I said, every business, there's problems and they're coming. Right. It's just a matter of when, when and when you identify it, right? Right. So, and the other thing I would say is just try to stay focused and eliminate distractions. Right now in today's time, we're bombarded with distractions and we don't even know it. Right. And it's distractions is the death of producing things, getting things done. Distractions, and those things right there are the worst. Right there,
it's so easy to
those
be
phones are the worst.
Right here. You could be scrolling for 3 hours. And
Yes. That's why I had a Apple Watch and I got rid of it because the only thing that's worse than the cell phone is the the watch.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
yeah, that's the only thing. It's like
I
the
never
worst
had
thing
one, so
ever.
Yeah,
Don't get
why is
one.
it
that?
is. I don't
Yes,
even
don't
wear
get one.
mine either.
Don't get one. You
Yeah.
know, focus. You know, everybody think multitasking is like the best thing to do, and it's the worst.
It's the
Right.
worst.
You want to focus on one thing at a time,
Right.
and you got to get into what you call a focus state. You know,
Yeah.
but before you get into a focus state, there's a struggle phase.
Yeah.
So you struggle, then you focus, and then there's a recovery. You know, with things, and so what happens is because we're bombarded with so many distractions. Research shows that for every distraction, it takes 20 minutes to gain back focus.
Right.
And it shows that right now we are distracted every 3 minutes. Like the average person is looking at their emails 37 times a day.
Wow.
Just their emails.
Right.
That's not
Yeah.
talking about social media and
Right.
everything else, right? So what happens is by you being distracted, you're losing that focus, right? And now it's going to take another 15 minutes to regain that focus. But
Right.
before you can get back into that focus, you get distracted again. So your life becomes a cycle of distractions, perpetuation of distractions, and you don't even know. And before you know it, you spent the whole day, and you're wondering why you didn't get shit done.
Right.
Right.
You know, so you have to put yourself in the position to manage your distractions. You know, you have to be the owner. So, you know, one of the things I've been taught in a class called Zero to Dangerous was with the phones. Like my phone's on a schedule, and people, and like I set a schedule through the day, and there's only like 5 people that is an exception to that schedule that can come through.
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
of my business partners, my
Right.
kids, and my family good.
Right.
And people get pissed. Man, I called you all day. You don't answer your phone no more. Go to voicemail. But what I've done is when people have the opportunity to call you, they are in control of your distractions, or get a hold of you,
Yeah.
they are in control of your distractions.
Yeah.
But when you block them out and you set a schedule and you decide who come, then you become in control of your own
Right.
time. Now
good.
I'm in control of my time,
Yeah.
because as long as you keep allowing people to bring in distractions to you, they're controlling your time.
Yeah.
But if you set your schedule and block them out, then you become the controller of your time.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm in control of this destiny with this time, because it's important.
Yes.
It's important, you know, to stay focused and you know, it's like, you know, as we talk, there's a lot of work being done here.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
nobody got time to be chit chatting. And by the
No.
way, if you are accessible at any time, anybody could get a hold of you, you devalue yourself.
Right.
Right.
You know,
right.
if anybody could just get a hold of you whenever they want, 24/7,
Yeah.
call you up, then you devalue yourself.
Right.
That's why people that are hard to get a hold of, when they come around, it's like, hey, you know, let me get a hold of you right now. Like, where you been? How you doing? Like, they
Yeah.
excited because
Yeah.
they don't have that opportunity, you know,
Right.
to get a hold of
Yeah.
you that easy. So
Right. Right.
And when you value your time, other people will value your time too. Like you just
yes,
said.
right,
You
right.
value your own time. Like you said, when people finally get a hold of you, like right now, we're valuing your time.
Yes,
We're
right.
trying to
And
pull
look
these
how
gyms
hard it
with you.
was.
It was hard.
It was hard, and I literally like I told you, like Friday I was in. Last week I was in San Diego. You know, this Friday I was in Costa Mesa and Huntington Beach. Saturday I was in Huntington Beach. You know, Monday. Let me see. No, this Monday. I'm here. Actually, I got this week here in town, but the following week I'm flying out to New York. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like constant. So you have to have a very regimented schedule,
Yeah.
and you really got to understand how to manage these distractions and create that focus time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once you get into that phase, it's like writing. I mean, you did music, bro. You know, at the beginning, it's like a little struggle trying to get the right, trying to get it. But once you get through that struggle phase, if you just let those distractions go, get them
Yeah.
out, and you get through, because everything has a struggle phase in front, and you get into the focus stage,
Yeah.
then it starts flowing. You ever sat down and wrote something, all of a sudden everything is just coming out, right?
That flow
That's
state.
that flow.
Yeah, that flow state.
That's that flow.
I've heard about that because it's in that. It's in sports too.
Yes.
Because when you get everything out and you get in that zone, what they call the zone, it's like everything becomes like, you know, when the ball's going in, you know, like everything just comes natural. And the same thing with music. And I learned the same thing with business. How you saying right there, it's the same thing. Like, and you're right. We do have so many distractions that gets us out of that flow state.
Yes, absolutely.
That's good word.
Yes. And then after that flow is the recovery, right? So you got to be serious about your recovery. You know, there's different types of recovery. You have an active recovery, you have a passive recovery, and it's important to know the difference. You know, so an active recovery is where you take yourself out of that mindset. You know, if you work in the city, you know, and on Saturday and Sunday go to the country, you know, so it's removing yourself from that mindset as an active recovery. Right. Passive recovery, because people don't understand, like, the sleep is more important than the activity nowadays. Like sleep is very, very important in recovery. Yeah. It's actually more important. So so you got to take yourself out of that mind state. A passive recovery is being in that space and saying, okay, I'm not going to do it today. Let's say you work on a computer all day. And you say, I'm going to take today off. But then you go on the couch and you're on your cell phone. Right? It's the same stuff, right? So that's a passive recovery, and people don't know the difference between those passive. Well, the passive recovery doesn't do anything for you. So you got to have those active recoveries. That's why when my schedules is out and it's time to take a trip with the family and go, I'm taking a trip with the family and going somewhere and getting my mind out of that state. Right. So when you come back in, everything is fresh and clear. Yeah.
Do you make the kids follow with that too, or they not
there yet? Okay, they not there yet. Yeah, they ain't fixing. That's too much for them right now. But I got it ready for them. You know what I mean? I got it ready to teach them when they ready to teach them. But but they like, Dad, that's a little too much for me. You know. So. But that's what I'm saying. It's so that's those are the books that I recommend, and some advice to the young people too.
What was that? Zero to what?
Zero to Dangerous. Yeah,
Zero to Dangerous.
Yeah,
is that a book?
No, it's a class that Steve Kotler, he does. He performs. He has a couple different classes out there, but amazing guy. He's a writer. Okay. And so he has an 8-week course called Zero to Dangerous, where it really shows you how to increase your productivity. Yeah. Because people don't really understand how productivity works. You have an input and you have an output. Input is what you call a fixed amount. There's only 24 hours in a day. It doesn't change. Get that? So no matter what you do, you can only max put in 24 hours. Right. But your output is a variable. There's people that can do something for an hour and it makes it look like they did 12 hours of work. There's people that can put in a day and get 3 days of work accomplished. And they do that by what we talked about earlier, is understanding how to focus, and how to recover, how to get through the struggle phases. They're very efficient. And in between here is what you call leverage, So people that, for instance, I get Jeff Bezos, right? The Amazon, right? So there's 24 hours in a day, but there's an enormous amount of output that Amazon's doing. What's in between there? Leverage. What is that? People. So he's utilizing people. So for one of his hours, it's equivalent to 275,000 of man hours. Right. 1 hour. Right. You follow me? So this side over here is infinite, right? Yeah. So he teaches you how to really increase your productivities. And I went in there wanting to do 3 times more than what my peers were doing. That's what my goal was, to put 300% more out than what my peers are doing. So in my profession, you stack me and my peer up, what he got done in 1 day, I wanted to get 3 days done. That's what my goal was, because I have to buy my time back and free up my space because of other projects and things I want to do. So that's what I did. You know, I found a way to get in one day 3 days of work done.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very good. It talks a lot about it's neuroscience. You know, so it talks a lot about like some of the things we talked about now and how to be aware of these things. You know, distractions and cognitive overload. You know, your mind is you have a RAM. You know, you have a RAM, and your mind is the same as a RAM, right? So you can have cognitive overload, which impacts your processing. Excuse me. So the more you store, because your brain is a processor, it's not a storage. It's made to process.
Right.
So we never was taught how to use our brains, right? And so what people do is a lot of times they use their brains as a storage. Trying to remember things and remembering this and not writing things down. And so what you're doing is you're increasing the RAM in your brain.
Yeah.
So as this information goes up, your processing ability goes down.
Wow.
Follow me?
Yeah.
It's the same with a computer. Overload it with information and see how I want to act.
Yeah.
You've seen it, right? You in the music business.
Yeah.
You be sitting there for 10 minutes waiting for something to unload, right?
Yeah.
When there's a lot of information. Or the same thing with your brain. So the thing is to always keep a low level of cognitive load, a low level of cognitive load. So your schedule, write it down.
Right.
Because the object is not to think.
Right.
And that's what the Relentless book talks about. These guys didn't think, they just did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why when you look at Nike and they talk about just do it.
Just do it.
That shit is powerful.
Yeah,
it's more behind it than what you think.
Yeah.
The goal is not to think, just do. So when you write this stuff down on a list, or you take your calendar, I play Tetris with my calendar. You know, I put everything that I do throughout the day in my calendar. My calendar looks like Tetris.
Yeah, mine too.
You know.
Yeah.
But when you write these things down and you got a calendar and you manage it in an efficient way, you're reducing your cognitive load. That is increasing your processing ability. So you're able to knock out these problems that are coming. And people are like, man, how come every time a problem comes to you, you've got a solution to it, or you know how to handle it? Because I don't have a cognitive load. I write all the stuff down. I know what I want to do when I wake up in the morning. I look at the calendar, bam, go, bam, next.
Wow.
I even got the time I take my CMOS.
Yeah.
I got the time that I go. Yeah. Everybody has in their life in their schedule an optimum time where your focus is at its best.
Yeah.
Some people are in morning, some people are at night, some people are in the day. So you build your calendar based on that.
Yep.
Right.
So
this is my calendar right here.
see, there it is there.
I even have a task to calendar.
Yes.
Like calendar your week.
Yeah, see, so you have a low cognitive load and you don't even know it. You know, that's why you able
everything.
To, yes.
I live off this thing.
Yes. Calendar is like
calendar
I've
and
never
alarms. I do calendar and alarms. They go hand in hand for me.
Definitely.
I've never heard it said like that. See, I'm a hard head, so it's like now that you broke it down like that, it makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I heard a saying. This guy said, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the thing of saying like, poor people don't schedule right, and he said, middle class people write a schedule with like that deal with like say weekly things, and then he said successful do daily things, and he was like like billionaires, they basically do by the minute.
Absolutely.
Everything is taken up, and I was like, wow,
absolutely,
like, that's crazy. Because Nika, when I seen Nika's calendar a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, dang, my calendar is just whoever paid for something. That's it. I don't got no calendar. Right. It's like, but I'm kind of programmed. Like I still kind of do the same thing, but I haven't. I'm taking up memory.
Yes.
Like how you said. So it's like now that I'm always like what was I supposed to do?
Yeah.
What was I
Yeah,
supposed to
see?
We just
Yes,
talked about
there you
this
go.
today. I'm
Yes.
like, when you start
that's
to
what helps.
further,
That's what it is.
when you start to further and open this place up for more appointments and more
Right.
things to do, you're gonna have to live off
Right.
a calendar.
Yes.
That's what I told him. We're like, your
Right.
thing is gonna be a calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you got to get it in. When my friends ask, like, or they tell, like, hey, we need to hang out, I
Yes.
send them my calendar. I'm like,
Yes.
I'll try to squeeze you in on one of
Yes,
these days. I
right,
just did it with
right.
my godmother. She's like, we got to go for margaritas. And I'm like,
Right.
I sent her a screenshot. I go, let me see where I can fit you in
Yes,
one of these
right.
days. Because I don't even know what I got going on the next day. Like, I
Right.
literally have to look at my calendar.
Yes,
I mean, especially
yes.
if you're a parent, a business person,
Yes.
you know, you got a family. It's
Yes.
like they got things going on
Right,
that you got to
right.
put on there. I was like, I don't understand how people don't live off a calendar, because
Yes.
I would literally just be running around like a chicken with no head.
Yes,
I
yes.
have no idea what I'm doing.
Yes.
A calendar. I even have a 1 through 5 to-do list that every morning I have to put the things that need to get done,
Mm-hmm.
and I number it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 being urgent, got to get done. 5,
Yes.
I can move around. You know, I can
Yes.
shift it during
Absolutely.
the day. But 1 is priority. Got to get it done.
Got to get it. Yes, yes,
But-
yeah. I got a to-do list and a calendar, both on my
Yeah.
phone. So I look at the days.
Hand in hand.
Yes, and actually they teach you at the end of your days what you're supposed to be doing is called a excuse me. It's called a cool down. It's kind of like a cool down mode. And at the end of the day, you got to cool down. And what you do is you calibrate.
Yeah.
You calibrate what you had, your objectives for that day was, and what all did you get done. And then, if you had 10 things, you got 8, you got to move those 2 somewhere else.
Yep.
To the next day or to the next days, whatever.
Yeah.
And also what you have to do in that day is you have to look at the next day and know what you're preparing for the next day. So sometimes we wake up and then we say, what we got to do today?
What we gotta do?
Yeah, let me look what we got to do today.
That's me.
You already
Right.
lost the game because your day now becomes a perpetuation of distractions. And of
Right.
course, so you lay out your framework the day before.
Yeah.
Right.
You're looking at tomorrow, okay, I got that. And now I know. So now you gaming your mind up for, okay, I already know what I got to do. So when you wake up, you may have to move your calendar around. Like I said, we play Tetris with it. You move your
Yeah.
calendar around and
Yeah.
get that day set. Okay, I got that set. Okay, now I'm ready to go. Now you let everything go and, you depressurize and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and start on your recovery phase.
I call it reflection, cool down,
There you go.
reflection.
Yeah,
but
right.
at the end of the day, it's vital.
Yes.
Because it's like,
Yes.
what didn't I get done? That's
Yes.
all I want to know.
Yes, you
like,
gotta
what
have it.
didn't I get done? And like you said, what do I have to do tomorrow?
Yes.
Because it's like, sometimes I do wake up and I'm like, dang, what do I got to do today? I did not feel like looking at my calendar the day
Yes,
before.
right,
Like
right.
Sundays, I'm like, I don't want to look at that beast of a
Yes,
calendar
right.
because I know I just have, you just know your life. Basically, your life starts. Me, it's Sunday. I'm like, it's my my rest day,
Right,
but
right.
we have to. We got to
Yes.
get our, especially if you're wanting to get yourself on a routine, a routine. I say I'm all about the calendar. My job has helped me with that too, because they're big on calendars. So that's actually helped me the last several years with implementing into my personal life.
Yes,
But
right.
I'm all there.
That's good to hear.
Calendars
There you go,
are-
Jay. You got to get on it, man.
Yeah.
You probably
And
going to
I've
be using
more
Trello.
than- I think.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think we even talked about, him and I talked about having a podcast surrounded with
Yeah.
letting people know
Yeah.
how to
How.
calendar
How.
and
Yes.
how to set a routine, a daily routine,
Yes.
and how to use Google Forms and
Yeah.
how
Yes.
to, we talked about
Yeah.
having a podcast with maybe even implementing some of those jewels and just getting
Yeah.
people don't. Some people, I know a lot of people that don't live off routine and or even habits, and I mean, I can see the good effects of living in a routine. My husband, he's military, so he's very routine habit based. I mean, it's so natural for him. Me, I'm more of a spontaneous.
Right.
I allow for distractions. I allow for the things that come up spur of the moment, you know. But him, it's like I can tell you what he's doing right now or every hour of the day
Yes,
because he's
right.
so routine.
Right,
I know
right.
when he's taking his CMOS.
Yes,
I know when he's taking his vitamins. I know when he's at work and just
Right.
he's so routine. routine, but it benefits.
Yes,
like
definitely.
he gets done what he's got to get done,
Yes, right.
and nothing gets missed. And if it does, it gets moved to the next day.
Yes.
I admire people like that.
No, definitely.
For sure.
Yes.
I really
Yes.
do.
Much respect.
And I got to get better at it because mine is I use my notes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go and I write the things I got to do.
Okay.
You
that's
know what I
good.
mean? But it's still, I got to just learn better with the calendars. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's like,
right.
I think it's just because I see it and it's easier for me or whatever. But, and I started relating my calendar to money. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, unless it's that, I don't want to see
Right.
it if it ain't on. I don't want to see no money on my
Yeah.
calendar.
Well, that's
You know
the
what I mean?
beautiful thing
That's
about the
right.
calendar, because you could have two. You could have your money
Right.
calendar and
Right.
have your daily routine calendar.
Absolutely.
I
and
just
your
got to sit there and
appointments.
just really,
Yeah.
really get it. And I like the things
I
that
got
y'all
you,
were
cuz.
saying.
I
Yeah,
got
whatever the resource is for that type of talk, I need it because
Yeah.
I definitely got to get that better because like I'm routine
Yeah.
person, right? But my routine is like overall type things. I know every day I'm gonna do this, every day I'm gonna do that. So I'm constantly working, but there's a lot of things I forget.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like how you
Right.
say it, and it makes perfect sense to what you said, how
Yes.
our brain works. And
Right,
it's like,
right.
oh, that's why. Yeah, so now, I understood that's what it was because I always use the term of like, oh, no, I'm not getting older. I'm just doing more stuff, right?
Yeah,
I
right,
always say
right.
that, right? But common sense, if you're doing more stuff, start writing stuff more down better and this and that. So, yeah, definitely, man.
Keep that cognitive load low, man.
Cognitive
Yes.
load. Wow.
Yes. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, man.
That's what it is.
We learned so much today, man.
Yeah, we did.
Absolutely,
And
bro.
again,
Yes,
man,
yes,
we
sir.
Oh my God.
appreciate
Yes,
you,
sir.
brother.
Yeah,
Yes, we
likewise.
appreciate you, man.
No, happy
We
to be
celebrate
here.
you, man.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yes, yes,
Was
yes, and we really thank you.
Amazing show today.
Yeah, this is gonna be, man. We're gonna sell this. We're not even gonna
that's
play. Y'all ain't even gonna get this. We're gonna sell this, all right?
That's right.
Nah, but yeah, we appreciate you, brother. You
Thank
know what I mean?
you,
And,
yes.
and all the things that we're doing right here.
Yes.
Absolute
yes.
body armor. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
yes,
the
yes.
CMOS.
CMOS here.
What'll be,
oh my
there's
God.
going to be
Get
a
it.
code,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do,
We're gonna do a code.
promo code we talked about.
Right.
So,
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we will have that in the description after we work out all the kinks with that, and
Right.
you will be able to save a percentage off of your for your purchase for the CMOS and what was the other fruit? The soursop.
Yeah.
Soursop.
The tea.
Yes.
Yeah, soursop tea for
Yeah,
sure.
so it's gonna be some great things. Now we just gonna relax and
Yeah.
celebrate. And what did you call
get
it
it.
when we
Celebrate.
after you done make it-
Recovery. There you
Yeah, we're
go.
gonna do
It's recovery
right now.
time. There we go.
Absolutely.
But we thank everybody
Yes.
for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Next time you see this man, salute him and really enjoy anything that he has to say to you because, like he said, man, this man is very valuable to the community. And he should be celebrated wherever you see him. Man, we salute you and we appreciate you.
The jig is up.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir. Y'all have a great one, man. We out. Peace.